This is the 2021 Kawasaki ZX10R, easily identifiable with this revised aerodynamic bodywork. And I have to admit, when the first pictures of the new 10R hit the internet, I wasn't a fan. But to be fair, it has grown on me because it looks a lot better in person. I especially love how they have so seamlessly integrated the winglets inside the bodywork, and Kawasaki definitely deserves brownie points for introducing it here in India as a single-seater to get around the stupid sari guard requirement. Replacing the old dash is the new TFT screen, which we have seen on the Z650, but this one obviously gets added functionality to allow you to access the wide spectrum of electronic aids that the ZX10R brings to the table. We are talking about 3 preset riding modes. You have 4 user customizable modes which allow you to play around with 3 modes of power. You have 5 modes of traction control, and you can also switch it off altogether. The option to switch off the bidirectional quick shifter. You have 2 engine braking modes and 3 launch control modes. And these changes also extend to the bike geometry. The new 10R now features a longer swing arm, which also sits 1 mm lower compared to the older bike to help the 10R put the power down better, which has essentially increased the wheelbase by 10 mm and lowered the ground clearance by 10 mm, which now stands at 135 millimeters. On the other hand, the new lower triple clamp and revised offset has reduced the trail to boost agility. And interestingly, even the Showa balance-free forks, which we love, are now running softer springs, while the shock is running a stiffer spring to shift the weight bias a little more to the front, I think by 0.2%, to improve front end feel. And to get the most out of this revised geometry, the ergonomics too are now a lot racier, with the foot pegs now sitting 5 mm higher, and also the clip-ons are flatter, wider, and set further forward to allow you a full proper tuck. That is where this comes handy as well, because now the windscreen is 40 mm higher to protect you from the wind blast when you're putting down 200 odd horses. Which I have to mention is actually quite commendable, considering that this is the same inline 4 998cc engine, which is obviously BS6 compliant, but still makes 203 PS and has only added 2 extra kgs to accommodate the bigger, fatter catcon. The 10R has the makings of a lovely road bike. The engine is a peach. It's smooth, refined, and more tractable than ever with the revised gear ratios, because the larger rear sprocket and the shorter gear ratios in the first 3 gears mean that you can easily putter around in the city in the 3rd gear now with more than enough poke on tap above 4500 RPM for quick overtakes without needing to downshift. And I think that also has a lot to do with the step that Kawasaki have made in terms of fueling, because there's very little juddering even in the lower revs in the higher gears. The on-off throttle transitions are definitely better, which are again helped by the new light engine control mode, which makes the transition smoother when you roll off the gas. Also, the quick shifter is among the best I've experienced. Seamless, smooth shifts, even when you're shifting up with the throttle partially open, and you can also bang down the gears just as smoothly with little effort. Another part which stood out was the heat management. Now, with the introduction of a separate oil cooler for more efficient cooling, it definitely seemed to work, because not once did the engine temperature rise above the 100-degree mark even in stop-go traffic. Even the ride quality for the matter is exceptional for a superbike, because even in the stock setting, the ride was nice and pliant even on broken roads. For that matter, I was also surprised that the reduced ground clearance also seemed to do quite well over the largest or the tallest of speed breakers that we had to scale. Not once did the underbody scrape. You also have cruise control now at your disposal, which is again a telltale sign that Kawasaki were clearly gunning for the best superbike on the road kind of glory. I just wish the clutch was a little lighter to operate in the stop-go traffic and was adjustable for reach, just like the brake lever. Yeah, the fuel gauge is again not the most reliable. I think the biggest hurdle for the new 10R to win the best road bike title is its revised ergonomics. I so wish, just like on the 2014 ZX10R, the foot pegs were adjustable, because right now with these revised ergonomics, with the foot peg sitting so high up and the clip-ons further away from you, there is a lot of weight riding on your wrists in the city unless you're fully tucked, which, as you know, is not always possible. Because again, these are ergonomics which require a change of scenery to really shine through. Here in the corners, you can see the difference the new ergonomics make, because you can hold on to the tank so much better with the raised foot pegs. Also, you have so much more confidence going into the corners, trusting the grip from the Bridgestone tires, and also the improved front end feel because of the revised geometry. Also, when you're entering the corners, the bike feels nice and progressive, is nice and planted all the way through the corner, and hooks up really well at the exit with the longer swing arm. But yeah, it does take a lot of effort to transition from one side onto the other, again highlighting the significance of the wider clip-ons, which provide really good leverage. In terms of the winglets here on the road, I can't really say a whole lot because we were not really going that fast. But yeah, under acceleration, it's a lot difficult to wheelie, and secondly, the bike feels really solid under hard braking. The Brembo M50s really doing a stellar job both in terms of feel as well as feedback, as well as the stopping power, because you just require a single finger to drop anchor in a hurry. My only gripe with the braking is the ABS and how intrusive it feels, because especially when we started pushing hard, the rear lift mitigation, you could feel it working overtime here on the road, and it's only going to be more intrusive when you go onto a racetrack and you're going much faster and braking that much deeper into corners. The other glaring miss on this Kawasaki flagship is the absence of a yaw sensor, because the IMU on the 10R calculates and responds to slides based on the data it collects from the roll and pitch sensors. And I find that system to not be as efficient, because when I tested the previous generation 10R on the racetrack, I felt that the system was a little too reactive in the way it would cut the power abruptly to arrest the slide, which threw me up in the air on more than a couple of occasions. So with the same system, even on this bike, I'm curious to see how this one goes around on the racetrack. But this 10R offers a lot of motorcycle for its 15 lakh rupee price tag. I mean, sure, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and sheer brute horsepower as its European counterparts, but it undercuts them in terms of pricing by a country mile. On the road, It's a lovely, lovely super bike, and with just smaller modification with the adjustable pegs, I think it's a lovely motorcycle to own and live with. And for the track, with all the money which you will be saving, I think it makes a very good base to build on to convert this into a full-fledged track tool.